Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 11 of Kokai, our modded CS2 build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Got our college town set up last episode, which was a really nice addition into the coves along the south part of the island, and in today's episode, our attention does indeed turn towards services. Glancing back across the current city, there are issues with garbage collection, and there are very nearly about to be issues with power as well. So, big industrial service port is what we're after today. However, I don't want to go too big. I don't want this to be the main container port of the island. That's likely to lie within our central business district build at whatever point that arrives. But today, we need to do some local port industry to help this current configuration survive. So we'll be using this little coast here from where we set up our road coming out of the college town last episode. There's a nice little cove here that I think is perfect for it. So let's do a little bit of terraforming here to prepare a port, and then we'll get stuck into it. Super. So that'll give us some basic frames. Let's go ahead and get this hooked in now to our wider network. We'll develop some more significant interchanges as well off of the national road that heads out to this, because right now it is just a T-junction, which isn't particularly appropriate. We got this one here and then this one, so for right now I'm just going to draw that across, but we'll develop this in the episode to be something a bit more significant, I think. So now usually when we come to develop our ports, we'd use the extended road upgrade tools here to force them into keys. However, a tip we picked up from Few Candy, now a shout out to Few C, I'll remember to leave her channel link down below. By using the horizontal pillars from the support, so just by searching pillars in FindIt here, we can arrange them on a line tool. Obviously we want Anarchy on here as well. Now let's just do a little kind of test sample here, shall we? So we'll set all of these up, which obviously is pretty janky right now, but I think with a bit of MoveIt, it will also filter out for props as well, which these should be. I think these qualify as props. They do not. I guess they may be buildings then. And then with FindIt, I just want to use the marquee to grab all of them. And then let's set everyone to the same height as what we have down here. Being happy with that, and then let's just budge up a couple of steps with MoveIt, just so that concrete edge is flush with the road. And then what that'll give us is essentially a key wall without the fence, which I think lends itself much more to an industrial port like this. So a super cool tip. Again, shout out to FUC for that one. I'll leave it linked down below in the video description if you're interested in checking it out. Go check out her Philadelphia build, it's very good. So we'll do this, I think, around most of the port today. But as we are trying to address services here, let's turn our attention towards the first service, which is going to be the recycling centre. So 880,000 to place this one, and let's just get an idea of where we want it to be. I wouldn't mind having it kind of as a bit of the first building you pass by. So why don't we arrange, I'll tell you what, let's place it down, and then we'll bring a road in behind this. And although this is still obviously a recycling centre, I think it almost looks like a little bit of a port entrance, doesn't it? Kind of a smaller building before you get to the more grander scale infrastructure. Now, I think we will use a cargo port here, just so the city has that import, but ideally it might be a little bit too big. Not even sure how much it is to place. 490,000. That's our entire budget gone at the start of the episode. Yeah, so I think one of these we can possibly get away with. I think we'll do kind of a maybe 2 or 3 setup with one of those once we come to build out the downtown area, that main CBD port, if you like. But let's add street lighting to our road here so power can transfer down. And of course we'll do water and sewage as well. Cool, so that's one service taken care of. The fleet of garbage trucks, interestingly enough, all take the high-speed access road rather than the highway, which is cool. They'll head off down there. Which means we can now reduce the upkeep, or, well, by entirely removing our landfill site. Now, we may reintroduce this building as part of a kind of a major landfill build at some point in the future, but it's way too close to... That's not what I want to do. Always the wrong button. Well, it's a little bit too close to kind of Sully and the towns of Triton here to have a landfill, I think. And we'll probably look to relocate the wind power as well. I actually wonder if it's worth maybe bringing them over to the port. I wouldn't mind having them on a hillside. Although wind speed on top of a hill is apparently too low. Is it all the strong wind over here, is it? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, wind speed is all too low out here, which is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice, I think, to have a wind farm overlooking the port. But 0.02 megawatts is a bit too low for that, I think, isn't it? Fantastic. Let's bring some roads around the side here as well, and then we'll start placing some industry. So, to help Kokai keep its production chains in balance, I don't want to do too much plopping, but I will when I want kind of specific warehouses and whatnot. God, this is so bright, isn't it? Absolute nightmare to do that. But let's turn our attention here first, right? So just like some zoning in so the production chain can try and at least balance itself for a bit of the time. So let's do some larger zonings and a lot of surfaces through here, and the detail time lapse will help us to just really tie this area together, I think. So it's a little bit of zoning along the port here. We'll get that growing in. Using better bulldozers, I'd like to trim off some smokestacks too. I did mention a boat ramp, didn't I? I'd love to have a look at that. So it's probably the alleyway road is the most appropriate here, isn't it? I just want to bring that down there. Can we do this? If we bring down 2, if we can kind of duplicate the aesthetic. Let's grab those end nodes and move it, and then sink them down toward the riverbed. Yeah, I guess we could use Road Builder to do a single one, but honestly I think I'd be happy with that as a bit of a ramp. Just down into the water. Boats and whatnot, of course. Yes, these guys now, of course, complaining of not enough power, which is something we need to address. So the second bit of infrastructure we can place is going to be the small coal power plant, I think. Which again is going to be another nice bit of chunky industrial infrastructure, isn't it? And I wouldn't mind this sort of here. So with the terraforming, I'm actually purposely trying to create a really obvious cut in here, like they've cut into the hill to build the port. And we'll do some nice things with rocks and fencing to really kind of bring that aesthetic to life, I think. But for right now, the coal power plant does want a little bit more room. So I'm happy to trim that back. I know it's very jarring right now, but bear with it. As always, it will hopefully get there. Now with this one, I think because we're probably going to overproduce power for what we have need for in Kokai currently, we can probably set up a service export here, which will earn us a little bit of money. So what does that take our production to? Not super into the green, actually. This one doesn't have any upgrades either, does it? No. In that case, then we could possibly do 2 of these, and that will future-proof our electric production, because otherwise we're going to have to come back here and place another one in maybe like 2 episodes time once we into that. I think we will go with 2 coal plants, but we'll use some better bulldozer to, I think, make them a little bit more at home. So let's come on to finer details or sub-elements, and we'll take the fencing off of both power plants. Now, this should leave us producing quite a bit of electricity. So let's put power line out. Really just want cell length and angle here. So let's have that by 32 meters. That there again as well, and then that'll connect. And then we can bring this one out, maybe on a slight angle. That seems okay. And then let's feed this out of the port. It can cross the street and then run off to an outside connection. And I really like the aesthetic of this high voltage power line actually leaving the port, because it will just make the area seem a little bit more industrious. Where is our nearest outside connection? I guess over here, isn't it? Let's go ahead and get that hooked in now so we can start selling the leftover electricity. Wonderful, and we can now export 31 megawatts, which will hopefully make us a tidy profit. Let's have a look at service trade. pops in, maybe it takes a while for it to register in the budget. Probably does. We'll come back to it and check. But I'm happy with that. And I think with these areas here now, that'll be a perfect place for some surfaces to come in, won't it? So let's add in a new node. And then essentially just connect the two power plants together. Something not too dissimilar to that, and then we can get lots of props around here and try and expand a bit of a substation away from the two coal plants here. That'll future-proof us for power production for a really long time as well. We can probably even remove some of the upgrades from the wind turbines now as well, because they will be costing us money. Wonderful. So we will get the port in. We're not quite ready for it yet, just another 10,000 needed. We are operating on a very slim budget in Kokai. But I think another thing I want to include as part of our port, which is something we did for Edinburgh, is a little bit of a stone mine, just so the production chain meets that value. So I want to terraform this out. So rather than it being a stone mine, I really want to treat this as some kind of bulk aggregate loading bay as part of the port structure, okay? So let's push this out a little bit. Don't want to go too far out. We'll also create a bit of a breakwater here as well for the inner port to not be battered by the waves of what will be the massive container ships at some point. And then with this one here, we can, what's that, just delete a few of these here. And then let's do another little road frame out this way. Fill as much of that space as we can. Put that back in too. And I actually wouldn't mind bringing this one a little bit further down. And then let's change the road structure here. And let's come into that specialized industry. We'll grab stone mining, of course, which doesn't need a resource. And then I just want this to fill up the frame we've just drawn out. Fantastic. We'll, of course, trim back this land as well, which I would like all the, I guess, port floor to be on the same level. Again, we'll do some more of those pillars during our tile maps too to really tie this area together. Pretty happy with that. So let's do some terraforming here now. So let's come down to a really small brush size and very low strength. And then we want to do our shift terrain tool. And then in various points around this now, just a lighter brush. Let's maybe increase that strength a touch. Just want to create some piles of essentially what is stone, aggregate, gravel, cement, whatever justification you want to give to something like this. But just the illusion of piles is what we're talking about. And I mean piles of gravel, not in any other context, God forbid, right? Nobody wants the illusion of actual piles. And then just soften it back out once we've got those peaks in. And then from the right angle, once it's properly terraformed, it will give us the aesthetic of kind of those piles of aggregate ready to be exported, right? And it's also going to help meet our production chain values now too. Because we should be producing our own stone. Yeah, so even that small patch gives us a 3.2 ton a month production, which is very nice. We are in desperate need of coal, aren't we? Coal is a major import for the city. I haven't actually checked. Where are the ore deposits on this map? Pretty much in the hills, aren't they? We'll definitely get stuck into an ore quarry build at some point. Maybe... It's all pretty scattered, isn't it? There's some pretty dense concentrations around here. Maybe this hillside at some point will become Kokai's source of coal. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, the coal power plant has garbage problems. Of course it does. So why don't we have a look at some extensions then for this? We could do the garbage truck depot upgrade. That's going to push us up to 25 trucks, which we'll do. And then we could also do a storage expansion, which I think just from the port aesthetic, if we can have a few of these across the road, they could actually very much be on board with that. This should allow this recycling centre to maintain pretty much all of the south of the island's garbage. We are also in need of water again as well. Now, do we want to look at groundwater here? This is causing pollution, so this is essentially off limits for us. Although I guess we could amend it. I guess another... Don't think we have the capacity for pumps here, do we? No, we don't. That's fine. Okay, in that case then, the water towers can't be upgraded, can they? Certainly not with extra capacity, I don't think. No, it's just a viewing platform, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, that's fine then. So what we will do is let's actually walk through this. So with our landscaping tools, we want to find the groundwater source tool. So I'm happy to use this groundwater pocket, but I actually made this mistake during our first episode. We want to make sure that this groundwater deposit is entirely separated from any ground pollution. So I want to push that across there. And I think we'll make it a little bit more intense around this way. So any pollution here now. Although we do have pollution there, do we? No, I think that's going away. Maybe just take it off that side of the road entirely. And then I think we'll just have a little dirt road here that comes out of the same port road. That just holds a little pumping station. A little small micro bit of industrial detailing. We'll get some fences and props around here and whatnot as well. Come the time lapse. That should see us through for water. Everyone happy now? They are indeed. And I think we'll possibly preempt that with the extra pump as well. I should increase that a little bit. It does indeed. Wonderful. So that's destroyed our budget. It really has. But I'm happy with this so far. In terms of the buildings that are growing in, we're actually getting some really nice warehouse looking ones. I've gone ahead and locked a few of these buildings, so I wouldn't mind actually letting the rest of them grow in on zoning so the production simulation can decide exactly what it wants to pull in. And then we'll leave some spaces open too, because I would like to get some prop detailing in here as well. During the time lapse, like we're very familiar with, of course. Cool, so I will need to let the game run for a little bit, because we do need to get some money piled back up to buy the final building of the port for the detailing time lapse, which will be the cargo harbour itself to allow major imports in here. But I'm really liking the shape of this here. I like how it's kind of naturally using the cove. Let's talk about these hillsides, because they're left very jarring and terraformed at the minute. So I'd like to use some of the random boulders. Now, we could do these on a line tool, which I think might be more appropriate. And we'll go for random rotation as well, so they're not all in a super rigid line. But either way, we'll give a test example. So I just want to create some rock walls against that sandy texture. So it really looks like the port has been cut out of a natural landscape. And then they've put rocks along here to create a retaining wall. So all that soil doesn't come spilling back out. So we'll end up with something like that, okay? That follows the natural terrain there. And then I think little bits of overgrowth around there as well. So we'll do some wild green bush and scatter this in the rocks too, although we don't want to be snapping to the surface of an object here. There's lots of little bits of overgrowth and get some along the top there too. And then I think just to finish it off with a net lane. So we'll go a fence network, absolutely industrial fence, and then just want to run that pretty much in that kind of manner. So we just have a really nice boundary to the port that kind of has been ripped into the natural terrain here. We'll sort that bit out there over there too. But then it just kind of sits against the port, and it's a nice little kind of drop down, but it's all overgrown and fenced, and I think that'd be quite nice. We'll do the same thing all on this back wall as well. We do still have some garbage problems. I'm assuming this is just them getting around. Yeah, we've got plenty of processor now. I think it's just they're catching up with what had already built up, I think, aren't they? We can see all our fleet of trucks moving around here. Are we actually using all 25 now with that? We are indeed. We are. So whilst our cache builds up so we can place the cargo harbour, let's go ahead and move into a rock wall time lapse, and then we'll be right back. we've got the rock walls in there, which I think is a really nice contrast, isn't it? Just to have a layer of support and foundation against the hill where it's been cut away. Big fan of that. Whilst we wait for our money to re-power back up, which is slowly trickling in over time, I'd like to have a look at this junction. I'm pretty sure we'll do something similar to what we did down the other end. So let's just trim this back a little bit. I'm not entirely sure how much room we have to play with, but let's grab ourselves... We do have some road builder roads here, which could be interesting. How about an asymmetrical 5-lane highway? Do we have the room for this, I wonder? Probably not. I think we'll probably stick to 2-lane then, I imagine. So we'll set that up there. Let's grab ourselves the 2-lane highway, and then from this segment of the road we want to peel back into the opposite side. And then we'll add in a turning lane here with 3 segments as we peel away. I think I'm happy with that. Maybe we can grab this segment here and just bend it out a little bit. I'd be happy with that. See if we can arrange ourselves back to similar heights. That seems okay. And then with this road here, we'll grab our asymmetrical system. This can come down, and then we'll grab that one-way road. And this can go back into there, I think. And then we'll add a slip lane on here, so they have room to merge. Should be happy with that. Loads of homeless walking down the highway still from last episode. And then I think we'll do the sound barrier upgrade. Possibly this side, I think. At least up until that bit there. And I guess we could probably even turn this into 4-lane divided, which I think I'd probably prefer. Although I think because this is kind of a node and a half, isn't it? Let's just go ahead and redraw this segment, just so we're a bit happier with the positioning. Had great success with these interchanges before, so hopefully they're going to be okay. And then with this road off the highway, let's just, I think, snap into a 4-lane. There was a bit more traffic capacity there, weren't it? And then I think we'll just help add more slip lane support by adding in a little slip road here. We'll see if we can just merge that into that. And then with this junction at the head, we can remove the right turn. So everyone here can just go straight through. We'll add a little grass median and some trees as well. Cool. And that should just merge our couplet together for some turning spaces. And we should be okay with that. Junctions tend to get pretty busy in the rush hour, but I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. I do like seeing the rush of the city during the early morning. I think it's quite nice. Special. And we don't need those lights down the other end either. So we can get rid of those. I actually wonder, maybe do you want to do 4 lanes here of merge? Let's have a little check. Be able to upgrade. No, I think we'll stick with just the one, I think. Might even be tempted just to redraw these segments too. Let's just tidy it up a little bit. Yeah, I think we'll just move down to 1 slip lane there maybe. I think I quite like that. Then we could justify having the crash barrier there as well. I don't think I'd hate that. Could maybe even double it up so we end up with a pretty cool pattern. And then let's stick some trees in the middle of this, shall we? Get some nice big overgrown numbers. Really enjoying just getting more familiar with CS2's road tools and little intricate intersections you can piece together. It's always a lot of fun learning that process. And we'll stuff this with trees. I think I'll be happy with that. We're down here, so the leaves do peek through, don't they? But we can pretend it's maybe a grated fence so the leaves can come through. And then again, no traffic lights here. There's no need. Fantastic. So that'll do as well. But hopefully allow some more traffic to come off here. So I'm interested to see actually how many people get off the highway to take the express road in. Which is getting a small amount of use. At least the garbage trucks are traversing this as well. So we'll see. But either way, just gotta wait for another, what is it, 300,000 or something? Yeah, pretty much, well, 300,000, isn't it? Let's place our port, and then we'll be right back. And we're finally back up to 492,000. I imagine the treasurers of Kokai are not happy with Egg. Having blown all of their budget immediately again. So I want this one here. I guess we can place it and then we'll just move it into position. So let's just pull it across a tiny little bit. Just extend the terraform we've got out here as well. And I think that should be pretty much okay. Just push the land out to meet up with it now. Wonderful. Let's also get this connected in with... So what's the seaway out here? It's over here, isn't it? So this is just a medium. Let's place that in. Now we should be able to connect a shipping route from here into there. Wonderful. I'll tell you what we will do. Please leave your city names down below. So then we can have some of Kokai's ships leaving for your cities as the outside connection names. I think I'll take one for myself, because I always love sending ships off to Orchid Bay. Let's have that connect in. Just a little bit more money. Treasurers are furious, as you can imagine. So I'm going to take this one here, but please feel free. This one is going to become a connection to Orchid Bay's cargo port. So now this ship is heading to Orchid Bay. I love that. But yeah, please leave another name suggestion for your cities, because we'll send it to the other outside connection over here. So I guess first come first serve, leave your city down below, and Kokai's ships can leave for your city as well. I think we'll throw in a one-way configuration here. So I want this to run pretty much the length of the cargo port. And then we'll have it come back in this way, so upgrade this segment too. And then we'll feed it out of this one. And then in the middle, of course, we'll search for FindIt. Let's just go for shipping container. And then we will find the asset of... I don't want this to be like an enormous container yard. So we could do large pile. Let's go ahead and throw this on a line tool. Let's add a bit of separation so they're not all hugging each other. Something like that seems fairly appropriate. Absolutely love these random selection assets. It makes drawing out infrastructure, where previously in CS1 this would have been placing individual containers or custom assets. Here they're just ready to go. It's something I've come to really appreciate. So struggle with them with MoveIt, and then we just want to pull them into the corner. And then lots of surfaces and continued key work around here should see everyone through. Whilst we do continue to now start importing currently grain, which is fantastic. And I need to let the city's coffers seriously restock. So let's move into a time lapse. I want to get lots of parking, security fencing, and more industrial zoning around the front of the facility. And then there's lots of surface work and further fence and prop work to do around the marina, alongside also continuing this waterfront with the pillars here, which I'm a huge fan of. You can see how it joins on a corner. It's very nice, isn't it? Very, very fun indeed. So we get that finished and tie together our form and function industrial service port, which is turning out very nicely. And I might even expand some of the residential down this road as well, because we do have some residential demands and people are tweeting that they have nowhere to live. So we'll see what we can do for them regardless. Otherwise, settle in, grab yourself some snacks, and let's do some detailing. And then we'll be right back. a little review of what's happened around the new port, shall we? So we've expanded the housing outside of the college town. Down the arterial, it now just comes down, so we have a slightly higher population. Also some workers nearby for the port as well. Over this way, our interchange is getting some nice use as well. Remove the crossings where we didn't need them. So people are walking all the way down here now. But, I really like a sound barrier in a corner. It's a very nice little design, I suppose, that, isn't it? Either way, everyone's heading off down there before we finally do arrive into the port, where we have some highway roads. And then we head down into a water pump over here, which just has the decontamination upgrade on it, alongside some light, very low pollution industry. So it is actually satisfying here. We're not getting any poisoned water debuffs, which is happy not made the same mistake we did in the first episode. Coming down into the port, there is a fence next door to some toll booths. That's spurring some open space where our power lines head out of the port. There's a telecoms tower in here, a bit more zoned industry, all formulated around this main car park, which is starting to fill up now. This is just two large ones with the fences trimmed off them. Around the back of the recycling expansions, we've just drawn out some surfaces and expanded the rubbish decals that are already, well, not decals, they're actual assets, aren't they? Just as a bit of overflow space around the back of them, which I thought came off quite nicely. And all this has been fenced off as well, so you kind of have to access it through these plants. Along this side, we've done lots more of that pallet extension that we like to do with our generic industry. Trees in the spaces where we couldn't do it, and then little spaces like this have just developed all along the waterfront. With pallet stacks, containers, deleted fences off some of them. You'll see as it comes down here, just kind of put more bins and whatnot around and join the surfaces together, just so it's kind of a nice cohesive flow of industrial waterfront, I think. I have allowed one or two smokestacks to spawn in. Didn't want tons of them because I kind of want that to be the main focus of the power plant over there. But it's all nice local industry. That's all helping to generate pharmaceuticals and steel and all the stuff that the production chain wants, which is why I wanted to zone a fair bit of it. And then our aggregate pile has been refined down here. And how nice are the pillar keys, I guess is what we can refer to them as. Again, great idea from FuC, that one. Don't forget to check out her channel link down below for more wonderful detail and ideas like that. Makes a real nice change from always having this, doesn't it? So we'll definitely use this again in the future. Love how it kind of comes around the corner there as well. It's a really interesting shape marina and general port space, isn't it? Super cool. Further back down this way, we'll head along the port toward the boat ramps, which is always a lot of fun, isn't it? And then we have our two power plants that have a fence around the edge of them, with that expanded space for administration on the lines and the pylons and whatnot. As that does head off into export, we are making 53,000 from that electricity export, which isn't the most amount, but you know, at least we are managing to sell a little bit of it on, which is very nice. Down here, there is lots of trailers waiting in rows, as you often find in container ports like this. Or that pillar key kicks back in, with some nice rock work around the edge of the shoreline here. I really like how all this sits. And then some more industrial prop work. Over here, there's metal, containers, bins, general industrial prop work that we expect to find. And I just love the visual of that expanded container support, especially with these kind of ploppable container stacks. They make an enormous difference to just the vibe, don't they, to be able to expand that container space out. It's a lot of fun for me, anyway. I really like piecing that sort of stuff together. And then this comes all the way around into another really nice viewpoint with those keys, and then a bit of rock work where the land wouldn't terraform, with trees around it against the edge of the actual container asset itself. And we've got boats coming to and from Orchid Bay, and don't forget to get your city's name down below so we can have a city from this, well, a boat from this port leave for one of your cities, which is always a lot of fun, isn't it? And that really kind of ties off a industrial port that's really built with kind of form and function in mind. You know, I wanted this to be a power center, a recycling center, industry. We've got stone mining in here as well, alongside the city's first import and export function now, so we can start bringing in all those material goods and resources in via the port as well. So future-proofs ourselves for a little bit, and there is still a fair bit of space on this peninsula So if we do need to expand the power infrastructure, or maybe we can build a sewage plant out here as well at some point, and we've got the room to expand, I guess, what we can now refer to as a bit of the industrial end of the island. But really fun. I hope you managed to enjoy it anyway. We'll leave it there. Massive shout out to all the patrons that support the channel. With a special roll call to Louis Adlam, Andrew Perez, and O'Hay Casino. Thank you for all your support, legends. If you want to get involved in that, there are links down to Patreon and Instant Gaming below, which are 2 ways to help support these videos. So I hope you enjoyed it. Really love all of these little industrial bits coming together. And I think we'll head back up towards Triton next episode and finish off that town before we'll probably end up saying goodbye to this side of the island. There's maybe 2 or 3, possibly 4 builds left over here before we need to go find some new space to build in. But thanks for all the support. Appreciate you all. Otherwise I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much again for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.